everybody. I hope you're doing well, and I hope you enjoyed the first, start to the World Test Championship final. Welcome to the special show in the air by CricTracker. My name is Nivedna Prabhu. We're of course going to be talking about everything to do with the World Test Championship final. It's been a kind of an interesting start, so I'm going to first get our first guest on the show. We have Oman cricketer Sufyan Mahmood joining us to talk everything about the World Test Championship final. Also, we did discuss a lot beforehand. Sufyan, welcome back. The past 2.5 hours has been interesting. What is your first thought about it?
Hi Nivedna, hello everyone. Yes, definitely. The first session has been very interesting. Credit goes to Rohit Sharma and Gill because the way they gave a start to India. It was not easy to bat in these conditions where we know the conditions were overcast and it had rained. Everyone was saying that there will be help for fast bowlers. There was help for fast bowlers, but the way they played, if you notice closely, they were not going for the drives completely. I mean, they were just playing close to the body so that because New Zealand came up with a plan to make them drive the ball. As far as what I noticed, so it was very well done by them. And then, as I said before, I was predicting 2 to 3 wickets, 2 wickets down. And
Yeah,
now Virat Kohli and Pujara have to make sure that they continue with go for the big scores because Rohit and Gill,
right.
no doubt they played well, but they could not go for the big scores. Now Kohli and Pujara have to make sure they take the innings longer and get
Yeah.
to a respectable total and then dominate to their bowling.
Right. So I think, like we always say, right, our experts have the best predictions. So I'll get our other expert on the show. We also have a reporter as well as content creator Gaurav coming on the show today. Gaurav, welcome back. You did have a prediction of 65 for one. So I think when the first wicket went, I think it was for 62 runs, if I'm not mistaken. And I was like, great, our other expert has got it right. So looking at the scorecard currently, what is your take?
I mean, definitely kudos to what Rohit Sharma and Shubman Gill have done. They were brilliant tackling the new ball because it's never easy. As I mentioned before, if the ball is swinging, no batsman in the world is comfortable. But the way they batted, it was phenomenal. They have done a phenomenal job in giving India such a stellar start because we must not forget that the New Zealand bowlers haven't bowled really bad like the scorecard says. They were good in their line and length, but the way these two batted brought everything out of the equation. I must give the credit to Rohit Sharma because in the initial half, in the initial 5 to 8 overs, he was facing the majority of the balls. And then he steadily allowed Shubman Gill to get the groove in, and the result is in front of us. Sadly, none of them have converted the start into a massive score, but the start is still good. And Virat Kohli and Cheteshwar Pujara, their job is slightly easier what was expected earlier. So I think one of these two has to make a big score to keep India in the hunt.
Right. So, with the fact that if we take a look again at the partnership between, Shubman Gill and Rohit, I'll come to you on that, Sufyan. What do you think was the strategy there on New Zealand's side to get them out? Because it looked like when Rohit got into form, it was going to take a little time to get him out. Is that your opinion as well?
Yeah, I think as we mentioned in the previous live session that New Zealand they always come like they have been coming up with a plan to bowl outside of stump and right close to off stump. They actually force the batsman to go for the drives or to play a short, make a mistake. That is what I noticed today as well. They were bowling outside of stump, and then the more straighter they got, they used to got hit for the boundary. So their plan was to stick to the off stump and off stump.
Yeah.
But as I said, credit goes to Rohit Sharma and Shubman Gill because they did give a few deliveries, so that they go for a drive. In England, it's not easy to drive. If you go for a drive, you usually end up at the slip. So they were very controlled. They were playing the ball close to the body, and I think that's the reason. I was actually expecting both of them to go for a bigger score. I mean, to convert the starts to a bigger score. But yes, the start they gave to the team was very good. So I hope next innings they can convert it to a big score.
So in terms of, the expected score and, of course, to have a partnership like that to start off, what were we ideally looking at? What would have been an ideal number for both of them to be ending this first bit, Gaurav?
I think the way they started, I was expecting at least one of them to get the three-figure mark. Rohit Sharma, especially because he has been in this situation before. He knows how to convert 50s into 100, how what to convert a small start into a bigger score. It was very impressive the way to started, but as we know, this is England. If one wicket falls, the wickets are going to fall in tandem. So I think the batsman can never say that I am settled in and I am go for the flow. So
Right.
really disappointed that none of them have even crossed the 50-figure mark. I think one of them should have got a 70 or 80 run start to make the job of the following batsman a little bit
Much
easier.
easier.
But still, the sheen of the new ball has gone a little bit now, and Pujara and Kohli, they need to do a bulk of scoring to keep their side in the hunt.
On that note, let's take a look at the scorecard to see, so far, of course, it's 69 for two. And if you look at that, 34 out of 68 is for Rohit Sharma. Of course, Kyle Jamieson, we have to talk about him. Gaurav, there was a point about, New Zealand missed a trick by not picking any spinner. Are you of that opinion, or do you think now it looks fine? It looks like they've gained some sort of momentum.
See, Ajaz Patel was included in the 15-man squad, and it was evident that he was in the scheme of things. But I won't say that New Zealand went a bit greedy in picking a five-man pace attack because they have backed their strategy since long. They have been playing with fast bowlers since long, and spinners have never been their forte, what we can say, ever since
Right.
Daniel Vittori came out of the picture. So I think adjust, but I still think although Colin de Grandhomme has bowled really well in this test team, I think Ajaz Patel would have brought a little bit more variety in the contest as the game progressed. On day two, on day three, he could have been more effective. But still, this is New Zealand strategies. They have stick to it, and I think they will be happy. They will be a happier side of the first session.
Right. So, Sufyan, coming to you about, that particular statement, of course, Colin did look like he had, momentum as well. But looking at Kyle Jamieson's performance, what are your thoughts on that?
Williamson has been impressive ever since he has started. I mean, I was listening to the commentators as well. He is getting advantage because of his height. Okay, and he knows where to hit the length, and consistently he has been able to hit the length. That's the reason you see such good figures. In the past,
Right.
also, he has been performing well. The reason is that he's consistent with his line, in swing, in swing, in swing, then one out swing, and the batsman is out. So he knows what he's doing. It's a very good sign for New Zealand. And as the test match progresses, we'll see. I'm sure he will be more and more eager to take wickets. So it's
Right.
India I'm sure has a plan for him, like Rohit Sharma and Shubman Gill played him, but they have to make sure that of course they don't let him dominate the Indian batting lineup.
Okay, so for the ones that are, of course, tuned in, if you have any question for both our guests, in the on the show, actually, you can use the hashtag #AskCricTracker. They'll be more than happy to answer anything. If you also want predictions from them, you do know that both of them have got whatever they've said pretty much right, so you can bank on their predictions. So send that in, and they will do their best to answer it. I want to now, ask the both of you, what do you think Kane Williamson's strategy will be? Of course, after this break when they go back into the game. Gaurav, would you want to take that first?
I think I think I was a bit disappointed seeing Tim Saudi not bowling a lot of overs. He was in sensational form during the England series, and I think he was not very well utilized with the new ball. So I think in the second session, both Cheteshwar Pujara and Virat Kohli are new in the crease. Tim Saudi is in stellar form. He should be in action. At the other end, I would like to continue with Kyle Jamieson. He has been absolutely phenomenal. I mean, you not often see bounce in England conditions, but it is there in Southampton, and he has used it to the good effect. So I think from one end, I would like to see Tim Saudi and Cal Jamieson doing his job from other end. As the session progresses, after the 15 or 17 overs, I would also like to see Trent Bolt in the picture because we all know that how lethal he can be.
Right, of course. Talking about lethal and also looking about another player that everybody wants to really know what the strategy is like. Sufyan, I'll come to you about Neil Bagno. What do you think? In terms of this competition as well as from Kane Williamson's perspective, what do you think is the strategy there to be using a player like Neil?
First, I would like to cover a point which Gaurav said. He was talking about Tim Saudi bowling less overs. In fact, all four fast bowlers. I think Kane Williamson has in his mind, including Wagner and the other three fast bowlers. The strategy I think is to ball them in small spells so that they don't get tired. India has a very deep batting lineup, and if you end up bowling Tim Saudi 11 or 12 or whatever, like 15 overs or 10 overs in a row, then he'll be tired. And of course, people might say that this weather is the weather over there will not make players tired, but fast bowler, of course, uses a lot of energy. So the plan is to ball them in shorter spells. That's what we saw now. Wagner also bowled, and Saudi also bowled, and Bold also bowled, and Gladstone also bowled. All of the fast bowlers were utilized because the plan is to bowl shorter spells. That's what I feel is in Kane Williamson's mind. And starting the session now, I think two new batsmen on the wicket, Jameson obviously, and I would go with Bolt starting now because two new batsmen. They are of course not settled. Bolt left hand fast bowler, Jameson with his height and with his pace and with his bounce right hand. So the bat won't be easier for the batsman to settle down. I would start with these two, and then of course Saudi, and you have Wagner, and then you have Grandome, and you have the bowling. So to start off now, both batsmen are not set. I would go with this if I was Kane Williams.
Right. Okay. If Sufyan was Kane Williamson, that would have been a strategy. But to look at, of course, our experts see, give their viewpoint of what could possibly happen. Like they've, summed it up in terms of the bowling, lineup as well as what India should be doing next. Of course, the Pujara and Kohli combination is where all our eyes are set on. But to talk further about what he thinks is going to be happening next, we have our other guest joining us, Rakesh Deva Reddy, who is a cricket coach as well as analyst, who is, of course, back on the show to be talking to us. Rakesh, for starters, from where we left off to where we are at the moment, what did you think of the last 2.5 hours? Are you happy or disappointed?
Yeah, I think India have got a very good start. I would say in the first 20 overs, they haven't lost a wicket, and the run rate was 3 runs per over. As we were discussing in the pre-match show, all the bowlers were, bowling slightly outside the off stump, and the batsmen were, they were leaving. Rohit Sharma and even Shubman Gill were just leaving. They were very sure about their off stump, where the off stump was, and they were just leaving it. And if you see both the batsmen, they were trying to just use that crease and stand a little bit outside the crease and trying to negotiate that swing. And like how Sufyan and we all mentioned, the groundsman said that it's going to be a little more bouncy, and as expected, there was bounce. But both the openers they handled it very well. I thought that good start would have been utilized, but the bowlers did a very good job, and Kiwis got 2 quick wickets. I would say after that 20th over, the match slightly. Kiwis took the advantage and got 2 quick wickets. I would say the first session, India was going well, but Kiwis got the upper hand in the first session.
What do you think really went wrong for Shubman Gill?
I think, it just happens like that because he was playing well. Like we mentioned, there was a gap between bat and pad before this particular match, but I was watching that he was negotiating that gap, and there was no gap. But I think it just happens because he looks like he was trying to settle down, and he was doing everything okay. I would say it just happens.
On that note, I want to come to you, Sufyan, about what, of course, we've spoken about the fact that Kohli and Pujara are going to be, coming in. And of course, everybody is going to be looking at what they're going to be doing with the score. But ideally, what do you think would be a good, partnership that we're looking at between the two?
Of the partnership or
The partnership, how much do you think would be a good amount of runs? Because we also took a look at the partnership between Rohit Sharma and Shubman Gill. So what do you think in that aspect?
now both are experienced campaigners. They are on the crease now. They should make sure that they at least have a 100+ partnership. And if you talk about the overall score, definitely if they have longer partnerships, they will end up with a good score. So score around 300, 350 should be the minimum score India should look at. Looking at the conditions, I think 300 they should touch the 300 mark. Also talking about Shubman Gill, you were asking. I want to add something to that. I
Sure.
think if we all of us were watching the match, if you heard the comment in the same, and of course we all know that England is a place where you cannot relax as a batsman. Even if you're batting on 100, you cannot relax. So I think that's somewhere they lost their concentration. Maybe they were settled. They thought now it's coming to the bat. We are settled down and we know we know where to leave the ball and how to go for the shots, loose balls. But
Yeah.
England is the place where you cannot, get relaxed. Even 1% of, I've played England. 1%, if you think that okay, I'm into the game now, you get out. That's how you lose your concentration. So I think that's what Indian batsmen have to keep in mind. The batsmen who are batting now and the ones who have to come now, that play every ball as if this is the last ball of the session. You tend to focus a lot more when you think okay, I have to survive the last ball of the session. We have to play every ball as it comes. That's the only key you can keep your concentration. If you get carried away with the starts, you get away with the score you are batting on, then you might end up losing your wicket. That's what happened with both of them. That's
Yeah.
So I
my
think in
suggestion.
in
That's my
in
thinking.
short, is probably the playing conditions is as unpredictable as England's weather, if we were to put
Yeah.
it that way. Gaurav, I'll come to you on this particular question about, since we've been speaking so much about the bowlers, right? I mean, right from even in the pre-match show, we did from both the teams, right? We did speak about at length at the attack. I want to know from you which bowler do you think is the one that one will have to watch out for this season, especially in the World Test Championship final?
I think definitely the way New Zealand have rather four quality pace bowlers, and all of them can be lethal on their day. But I think the way in this test match, Kyle Jamieson and bowled, he's gonna be a player to watch out for as the game progresses. I think with time, the seam and swing will be a bit lost when the ball gets older, but there is bounce in the surface. As Sufyan mentioned, he has the height, he knows how to exploit the bounce from the surface, and I think he'll be a lethal bowler because you look at other three, Wagner, Saudi, and Bolt, they're experienced campaigners. The world knows what can do, but Jamieson is still new in the picture. In India have played him before in the 2020 series, and we all know what he did there. And
Yeah.
the way he has started here, I think he'll be a player to watch out for. And India have to negotiate him if they want to put up a substantial first innings total.
On that note, Rakesh, I'll come to you, especially in the next session that we're going to see. Do you agree it's going to be Jameson itself, which is the bowler to watch out for, or do you, differ? Do you think it's going to be Bolt or, somebody else?
I think yes, Kyle Jamieson will also show that impact. But I think none of us or nobody is like really talking about Neil Wagner or his skills, how he can really trouble the batsman, because we saw the way how he was troubling England players in the second Test match, which they have recently played, and
Yeah.
the way he has come up with his bowling, how he has troubled Australian batsmen while playing against Australia in Australia. I think playing Neil Wagner in the next session is going to be a little bit crucial, and like we all are discussing, Virat Kohli and Pujara, they will have to really work on their line and length where they just ball slightly outside the off stump, and he can bowl slow bouncers as well, Neil Wagner, because the pitch is assisting the bowlers to ball bouncers as well. So I think Neil Wagner is going to be the guy who is going to be very crucial, where India have to really tackle this guy in the next session.
In terms of the approach that we did actually speak to Gaurav and Sufyan as well, as what would Kane Williamson's strategy be? So I want to actually ask you that question because we missed out on asking you that. What do you think it's going to be for the next session?
See, right now Pujara didn't open his account, but I would still say Kane Williamson would be trying to look to get this guy out, because he's like a wall who can just stick over there and make the bowler's job very tough and make the batsman who is going to bat with him very easy. Yes,
Yeah.
Virat Kohli is going to be a trouble thing for New Zealand, but before getting Virat Kohli out, I would definitely say they just want to remove Pujara and make it more harder for India. So that is one particular strategy. I think that is the primary strategy they'll be going up in the second session.
Right. Okay. So before, of course, we wrap up, this particular session of ours so that we can all, of course, continue watching the World Test Championship final, I have to ask our experts what is their predictions going into the next session. Sufyan, because you kind of got that first part right, let me start with you. What is the prediction going into the next session now?
Just tell you the number of wickets that with the number of,
True,
with
but
the number of runs, I'm not sure. But yes, with the conditions, it's not easy to score runs. I think end of next session, two or three more wickets.
yeah, all Indian fans are like, what is this?
Yeah.
Another 2 or 3 wickets. Gaurav, I'll come to you. What is the prediction in terms of wickets or even in runs if you want to tell us?
See, what I believe the second session is going to be very crucial. Either we are going to lose wickets or either a lot of runs are going to be scored because the new ball has gone a little bit older on the side.
Yeah.
I still believe that if Pujara is on the crease, he is not a very attacking batsman. But at the other end, we have Virat Kohli. He likes to go about his business. So I think a score at the end of the second session, we should see something like 130, 130 for 3 or 135 for 3.
Okay, that is quite a number
I
over
would
there.
add one
Rakesh,
thing.
yes, you
Nick,
can.
I want to add one thing. With
Sure.
the ball, Gaurav said the ball is old now, but I want to correct this. Actually, the Duke's ball with these conditions, it doesn't get old very quickly. We have played with Duke in our conditions where the weather is so hot. It doesn't get till the 50th over. The ball is not. You don't see the rough side of the ball shining. So with the
Right.
England conditions, definitely the reason England went with four fast bowlers was that this is one factor that Duke's ball doesn't get old very quickly, and in those conditions, I'm sure it will not. It will keep swinging till the end of the day. You see.
Okay, we're going to see that, of course, in the next session, how that's going to pan out. But Rakesh, I'll come to you on that. Once both of them have given their predictions, what is your take?
I think it all depends on how Pujara handles the bowlers, because if he can just play the bowlers, then Virat Kohli's job becomes easy. So I think maybe 2 wickets in the next session.
Okay, it looks like 2 and 3 is the ideal number, and I don't think Indian fans are very happy with that. But still, everybody has to be optimistic. We'll have to wait. This competition looks really interesting and it's just got started. But I want to thank again all our guests for coming on the show and talking to us. And like I said, don't go anywhere. We will be back once again to be discussing everything to do with the World Test Championship final. Until we see you next time, if you still have questions to ask our experts, use the hashtag #AskCricTracker, and they would be more than happy to be giving the answers that you're looking for. My name is Nivedna Prabhu. I'll be seeing you guys very soon. Until then, take care.